Liftoff will start in T-minus 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition.
It's time! 17 seconds from Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan open. Chicago with the lead. I've got a piece of it. It comes off. The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship.
Tying run at second, 2 out. Palmero over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series.
To the far side around the 8-yard line to Hester. Under it and to the middle with the 15 to the 20, breaks free to the 25 to the 30 to the outside. 40, midfield, 40, 30 to the coast, 20, 15, Hester 5. Oh! Touchdown!
Toward Bryant. He will glove it in front of Rizzo. It's in time. And the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Shawn and Maya in the morning on this Hump Day edition. I'm your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra. Thanks for tuning in. Listen, if you're watching us on Facebook Live, well, then I guess you found us on Facebook. And if you're not following us on Facebook, what? Hold on, let me adjust this. This be acting crazy. There we go. If you're not watching this on Facebook, what? Listen, go look, type in Sports Zone Chicago, click the like button, and now you're following Sports Zone Chicago. Simple, but wait, there's more. Go to our shows page. Go to Shawn and Maya in the morning and like that page as well. So not only will you be following Sports Zone Chicago, but you'll be following the show, Shawn and Maya in the morning. Now, if you're watching us on our YouTube channel, excellent. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, for real, come on, go to YouTube, type in Sports Zone Chicago, click the subscribe button, but also click the notification button. That'll let you know anytime a show from Sports Zone Chicago is going live. Get it? Got it? Good. Now, if you're watching this on our mobile app, and don't tell, man, you better not even tell me you didn't know we had a mobile app. What's wrong with you? All right, listen, wherever you get your apps from, I don't care where, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you get your apps from. All right, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Walmart, Kmart, 7-Eleven, Zayre, Zemsky, Macy, Montgomery Ward, Venture, Woolworth, wherever you get them from. You go there, you type in Sports Zone Chicago, you download it, you take us with you on the go. So not only do you get Shawn and Maya in the morning 3 days a week, not only do you get our other live shows throughout the week, not only are they archived there like they are on Facebook and YouTube, but I'll tell you what, we give you a slew. And I mean a slew of articles, thanks to my man Clarence Council III. Big up to Clarence for keeping you abreast of all articles Chicago sports related. Now, if you're watching this on our Roku channel, I like that kind of party, baby. And if you don't know, you better ask somebody. Come on now, Sports Zone Chicago. We have our own Roku channel. So if you have a Roku television in the house, do us a favor, download it. You put it right there. You know how to do it. Don't even act like you don't know. You've already downloaded Stars. You've already downloaded Paramount Plus and Showtime and Hulu and Disney. You know how to do it. Put a smack dab in the middle of all of them. And you can watch us on the big screen. Heck, we're on a big screen, right? Mickey, Ficky, now. You can also tweet the show. You can tweet us at Sports Zone Shy. That's CHI at Sports Zone Shy. Now, if you want to follow me, just me, personally online, you want to know what I did? Well, let me tell you what I did. You want to know what I did? Here's what I did. I made it nice and easy for you folks. Nice and easy. One handle for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok. All one handle at the Shawn Sierra. If you want to follow my lovely co-host, Maya Akai, well, she'll tell you.
Get down, little mama. 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 Get down, little mama.
Oh! How you doing?
Whoa! Who is this person? Oh, is it Carmen Santiago? Maybe. Waldo?
That is
Maybe.
Awesome. You are
Maybe.
Carmen Sandiego. Dude, that's your alias.
That's my alias.
That's awesome. I love it.
Because I am not to be found most of the time. Hello, everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Maya. How you doing?
Busy, but good. Hey, I made it into another year, so I'm not complaining.
Hey, who you telling? Who you telling? Because a lot of people we know weren't as fortunate. So
That's true. Yes, count your blessings. Period. Yes.
ain't that the truth? Well, let them know. They got to know where they can find you.
Of course, you can always find me on Instagram, Maya_Akai, and on Facebook and X. I just love that X. At the Sports Chica is where you can always find me on those platforms.
I love it. Like, oh, you can find me. Oh, I'm on X. You're like, oh, really? So how long have you had this drug problem?
Exactly. It's like, hey, it is what it is, you know.
So you must have some orange juice with you. Okay. Oh, so never mind.
Well, now, see, you know a little bit more about that than I do, but I'm not going to ask any questions. Okay.
Yeah, I had cousins in the drug game, so hey, I was able to watch from afar.
Oh, Cornelius, you gonna come at me like that? Oh, Maya's making her, her yearly. Yes, my annual appearance. I've checked in. There you go.
Oh my goodness, you're getting crazy love, Brian. Easy there, Brian.
Yes, right.
Oh man, listen, we have a phenomenal show, but we need you to get interactive. Listen, whatever platform you're watching us on, whether it's Facebook, whether it's YouTube, whether it's our mobile app, leave a question or comment right here on that particular platform. It'll come up here on the thread. We'll put it up on the screen. We'll incorporate it into the show, and that is what makes this the best morning Chicago sports talk show. Is you. So, baby, questions, comments, smart ass from us, because we ain't nobody scared over here. Like The Rock said, baby, don't sing it, just bring it. Let's see who we got over here, Maya. People in the chat. Levette Lee in the house. Good morning, Ma. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Cornelius Squalls in the Mickey House. What up? I love it. Cornelius, how you doing, Papa? Thank you for tuning in. Who else? My man, Armando Emeterio Lara Jr. Junior's in the house. What's up, baby? That's what I'm talking about. Oh, here's the one I should have put. Good morning, all. Be smooth. Brian Hendren in the house. Okay. That's what I'm talking about.
Man, okay, some new peeps. Nice.
Yeah, we love it. C Sharp Chris in the house. How you doing, Papa? Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Listen, I don't know a lot about a lot, but I will tell you this. More of the usual suspects will chime in as the show goes on. That, my peoples, I could tell you.
Yes.
All right. 10 o'clock. I am fired up, Maya. We have Evan Winter from A to Z Sports talking Bears. And, man, you and I have not had a chance to sit down and talk Bears. There's so much going on.
Well, right? I kind of feel like at least now there's something to talk about, that you want to talk about.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So we're going to talk to Evan Winter from A to Z Sports. He's a managing editor over there. He's going to come on, a good friend of the program. He's going to talk with us about his thoughts. All right. I mean, it is so weird, Maya, that the faction, Chicago's Bear Nation, is fractured. Maybe, I don't want to say half because I haven't polled them and it's not an official poll. But a large part of Chicago Bears Nation wants to trade Justin Fields, and a large part wants to keep him. There's a lot going on, they say, and you can understand both sides of the coin. Okay, you get one of the top prospects in years.
Okay,
coming out.
Can I just say though, that's still a risky proposition because
I agree.
I've watched a ton of bowl games. Seriously. And I'll probably say a few things that people will say, I can't believe you think that. I'm like, oh no, I do. I'm like really watching skill sets. And I know you may look at these players and say, oh, this is it. Now, all this doesn't matriculate to the pro level. And I'm looking for certain skill sets with what people are telling me should be a great prospect. And I'm not exactly sold. So before you go mortgage with somebody you've spent time developing on his own, through, different coaching regimes, you might need to be patient before you think you should just jump for something else.
I couldn't agree more, Maya. People know my stance. I am a big JF1 fan, even if he does think I'm negative.
Okay. Do I need to know why I keep seeing people call you Greg? Because
yes.
I'm like, first I saw it on Facebook and I'm like, why are they calling him Greg?
Okay.
What's the story behind this?
So here. So the question I asked Justin Fields last week after the game, they'd won their first game last week, and I was in the press room, and I asked them, I said, do you guys have a jumbo package? Pause. Or do you have, a short yardage package where you have like an offense, other teams put in offensive linemen. They'll bring in an offensive lineman. And I said, because you guys are doing all this cute stuff. I said, pitch to this guy, pitch to that, pitch to a wide receiver, the tush push. I'm like, do you have anything that you can just line up and smack someone in the mouth and say, listen, we're getting 1 yard and we're not, you're not going to stop us. So he went on, he's like, we have it. And I love his answer because we have it. He said, but we didn't run it. I'm like, okay, perfect. Enough said. That tells me everything I know. So right after that, he says this. He says, the day I get a positive question from you is the day I'm going to be happy. And I was like, everyone's like, oh, you got toasted. Like, no, I just brought something aware. So everyone started talking about it. It went viral, man. I was like, I couldn't believe I went viral. So Sports Illustrated did it. So they're talking about me on the score.
Whoa! You're big time.
I know. Your old stomping grounds.
What the hell they have to say?
So it was Holmes, it was Lawrence Holmes, Bernstein, and Layla. And they said they didn't know. They came out of commercial with that clip with me asking the question, like who, and Bernstein said, I don't know who that was. And they said, well, it's not a guy that we know. He doesn't cover the team on the road, just at home. So they called Mark Grody and like, oh, Grody, he's there all the time. So they're like, Mark, what's this? Who do you know who asked the question? He's like, yeah, he's a really nice guy. I can't remember his name. I think his name was Greg. And he's a really nice guy. He asked smart questions, this and this. And then they found they did a little more things like, oh, that's Shawn Sierra. He's like, oh, not Greg. Yeah, that's Shawn Sierra. He's like, oh. He goes, yeah. So and then Greg asked the question, and then Bernstein's like, or Shawn, or maybe Shawn introduced himself as Greg. So, and he's like, I am so sorry. So it's hilarious. So then you hear Grody in the background going, Shawn, if you're listening, I am so sorry. I'm an idiot. I couldn't remember your name. I'm sorry. So then I got a million texts. Hey, Greg. And so Sunday, me and Groats after. So I walk up to him and I said, hey, I said, Greg, I said, Mark, it's Shawn Sierra or Greg. He's like, oh my God, Shawn, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
You should have been like, Matthew, it's Greg, just to be an ass. Mark.
But it was so funny. And I was like, dude, when I first introduced myself, week 1? And I said, hey, we were in Wrigleyville doing a thing with Jerry at the Rewind Sports 60. He's like, oh yeah, that's right. And I would say hi to him every Sunday. And then he's like, I can't remember his name. And then he called me Greg. And they're like, no, it's not Greg, it's Shawn. And then Lawrence is like, it's not. So when you see him next time, it's Shawn, not Greg, it's Shawn. So that's why everyone's calling me Greg.
Gotcha.
So I put that Greg. It's a hilarious story.
There you go. Hey.
So yeah, it was funny. Actually, I called the score yesterday, as a matter of fact, with Lawrence and home. And I was like, and Lawrence and Layla Dan, I guess, is on vacation. And they're like, Shawn from Orland. And so they go, hey, what's up, Shawn? I'll help you. I said, hey, Lawrence. I said, listen, just first and foremost, I said, I'm Greg. I'm the guy. And they're like, Greg! Oh my God, dude. I'm liking Lawrence more and more. More and more.
No, Lawrence is cool people.
I hate it. The last time I met him, Maya, I met him at Junior's on Maxwell Street. So we're talking 10, 15 years ago. Back when that's the last time I met him. I'd never. So yeah.
Yeah,
that was the last time.
Lawrence is cool people. That's one thing I'll say in my time at the score of everybody. And actually, believe it or not, Dan was like super nice to me compared to like some of the other pieces. But Lawrence, Dan, yes, always super cool. So yeah, so good stuff. That's funny. I'm like, where is this Greg thing coming from? So maybe it should be Greg and Carmen. And there you go. Greg and Carmen show. And they're gonna be like, who the hell is Carmen? Well, that's Maya's new name because she's MIA all the time, So
where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? That is hilarious.
That's funny. Greg and Carmen, I'll see a joke on that one. That's too funny. That's good. Good stuff. Hey, I'm gonna throw this in really quick. I'm gonna put my psychology hat on this. I know why Justin said what he said. Seriously. No, I don't think what you asked was a really hard question. Like even remotely, but I think from certain media people, he wants you to be soft with him. And you would be one of the people that he would think wouldn't ask overly challenging questions, probably just what he would feel like more supportive questions.
So what was funny, what was really awesome, and I don't know if you can hear it because Steve will put this up for us. So obviously he said if next time you ask me a positive question. So on Sunday, Bears win. Justin had a really nice game with 268, 9, whatever, 260 plus, a tutty, another 40, 50 yards, another tutty. And, everyone was yelling, we want Fields. We want, after the game. So I don't know if you can hear it, but check it out what I said to him.
Take on Green Bay last week. Let's do it. Come on, let's do it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Congratulations. We don't know. Congratulations when you come up to last time you just shoot questions at you. Congratulations. You had an extremely efficient game. 268 in the air, tutty and all this stuff. The crowd started yelling, we want Justin.
Mm-hmm.
How did that make you? First of all, did you hear it? Secondly, how does that make you feel, especially after you put together a great game like you did today? The fans, the snow, the whole Chicago atmosphere, bear weather. Yeah. How did that make you feel out there?
Yeah, I heard it. It was great. Ever since the moment I've got here, the fans here have been great. To me, to the team. I was saying somebody in there like last year when we didn't have a good record. They're still showing up. Late in the season, cheering us on. So, Chicago Bears fans, definitely number one in the world, and just know I love y'all. We love y'all as a team, and they're always great. So, definitely very appreciative of them, and how they just supported our team all year. So,
we talked.
Yeah, so I asked, I don't know if you heard the beginning. I'm like, it's like, I got a positive question for you. That's why he's like, oh, let's roll with it. Let's roll with it. So,
like he remembered you. Oh, he remembered you.
Oh yeah. Seriously. Well, I made sure that I'm a little bigger than a lot of the guys, and plus I have my coach voice. I yell. I'm not gonna when I yell. I'm like, hey, Justin, here's the damn question.
he clearly remembered you. So there you go. You've built this rapport. Look at that.
Yeah, so he definitely knows who I am. So, but yeah, I'm glad to ask him that question, and it was good. The one thing I wanted to lead off with was, hey, congratulations, because we are like, hey, we just had a question that you saw. What about this? And what about third down? Like, first of all, the dude just played. Most of us are Bears fans in there. Like, we're happy that we won. Congratulations, congratulate him. He is a human. He's not just a quarterback. He's a human who's, you know what I mean? You want to hear congratulations when you do human nature, as opposed to just barking questions at you. So right. That's why I was like, hey, just, I just want to say congratulations. And I did that little thing just because, like, hey, I'm one of the biggest Justin Fields advocates there are.
You are. He doesn't know that, but
no, he don't. He thinks I'm negative.
You probably didn't know that, but you've been Team Justin literally this entire time. He wouldn't know that, but that's what comes with the territory. He's gonna have to be okay with. There are gonna be days where there are gonna be tough questions. That's just how it is. But on the flip side, you did exactly the right thing. When you do something great, we're gonna give you the accolades. We're gonna support you. We're gonna celebrate it. But when you don't do something good, you're gonna have to get a little tougher skin on this, and the questions are gonna be hard. That's it.
And what's funny is that everyone was talking about short yardage. They started talking about on Molly and Hall. They talked about it on Bernsey and Holmes. They talked it on ESPN. Molly, Waddle and Sylvie. They started talking about a whole bunch of other different podcasts. I'm like, that's because that's a question that everybody wanted to know. And then when I went on the score yesterday with Lawrence or Layla said, she goes, that's a question that I really wanted to know. I'm like, exactly. I try to get the questions that everybody wants. Well, she said it, so it sounded good.
Really. But that's the whole thing about the playbook. Anytime you look at a game and all you will see is when you don't see, look, people will like rant about chunk plays. Okay, but there's a time and a place for everything. And you're absolutely right. Sometimes you just really need legitimately 1 to 2 yards, no more or no less. And you need to have plans that are designed for that. And it shouldn't be, let's just fly by the seat of our pants. Like you said, the cute little things, because the cute little things don't always work. So, yep. It was an honestly good question.
Yeah. So yeah, it was good. I had my little 5 minutes of fame. I got some more Twitter followers. I was happy.
Hey, there you go. Hey, milk it. Hey, milk it for what it's worth.
You know it. That's exactly it. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Who else? Anyone else check in? No, more guys. Here come today. Well, listen, guys. You know how we do the first segment of every show. It's called Top of the Morning.
It won't come just when you want it.
Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you.
The first top of the morning topic. Let's see. Which way do we go? I know which way do we go. The Bulls. The Bulls fall to the Philadelphia 76ers yesterday in the city of brotherly love. That was a tough one. It was 110-97. DeMar DeRozan had 16 points. Io contributed 15, and Kobe White had a rough day. He had 14 points, 0 for 5 from beyond the arc. And Andre Drummond, I don't know how this guy is not going to be an all-star. He is the epitome of a double-double. 11 points, 17 rebounds. Lord have mercy. This dude is a monster, Maya.
And the thing about it is that when they picked up Drummond, I really liked the initial acquisition. I finally feel like he's playing at that level that I thought, like the physicality. Like I felt like for 2 seasons, I just wasn't seeing that physicality that I felt like, you good body. I want to get that. I want to see that from you. And I finally feel like I just don't know if just things are just coming together. You feel like eventually when people find their place on the team, because we know how that works sometimes when you're trying to figure out where somebody fits. Like the decision to go from, at one point, Io being in the rotation, which made sense because at the time there was a need, and now he comes off the bench, but again, is that wrong? Not necessarily. But the Bulls have got some big decisions to make moving forward. Ones that we've talked about for a long time about who is not the man. And you got to look at everything else that sits here and what do you do with it? So I like to see that Drummond definitely is playing at that level because I expected this from him day one. So I don't know. Is it because Vooch hasn't been around? So he's stepping up? I mean, what's the reason for such dynamic play from him, like all of a sudden out the blue?
Well, we'll discuss that in a second because we'll move on to staying in next top of the morning topic, staying with the Bulls. The Bulls travel to the Big Apple tonight for a matchup with the Knicks. Tip-off is 7 p.m. Central. That game is on Channel 7, ABC, which is shocking. Right. Today's not a special day. It's always NBC Sports Chicago or TNT or whatever. But I don't know. I checked it. I looked at the newspaper, Channel 7, 7 o'clock, or listen to the flagship 6:70 a.m. I think it's just I don't think the Knicks are very good either. So,
whoa, what? No. Jalen Brunson's a beast. Okay.
Oh, Stevenson, Chicagoland area boy.
Beast. No, Brunson, beast.
No, he's from Chicago. Chicagoland. Chicago. His dad coached for the Bulls, and he went to Stevenson.
Oh, I thought you said. Oh, I thought you were saying a different last name.
You thought I said Stevenson. No, he went to Stevenson High School.
I misunderstood you. No. This is.
No, you're right. They're only 500, 18 and 15. It's better than us, but
they're definitely again Randall. Lots of good components that the Knicks have. And again, another good team that you get to look at and say, okay, Fibs, okay, what do you do with this? Because the Knicks have a lot of talent. They do. They're young, lots of talent. And this is when you could look at this because, everybody had mixed emotions about Fibs, right, when he was in Chicago, about how he coached, that kind of stuff. I want to see how this pans out in New York with him. And he's been there for a minute. So, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting matchup. It'll be work.
Well, speaking of who we were talking about, the next top of the morning topic, Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine has been in preparation. He's getting ready, baby. All right, he's been assigned to the Windy City Bulls for a practice session. He's has issues with his foot, quote unquote inflammation. He's getting some work down there, and he could make his return to the Bulls this Friday at home as the Bulls host the Charlotte Hornets. I don't know about you, Maya. I've been in sports since I was 5. I don't ever remember inflammation lasting 4 to 6 weeks without a car crash or a broken or any hell. It's just inflammation, period. 4 to 6 weeks. I was like, I love how they just kind of they use that while they're trying to trade his ass.
Well, that's the thing. If you think they're going to be transparent about whatever it is, they're not going to, because I think at this point, the conversation about trade is fully on the table. I think he's okay with it. Chicago's okay with it. Just was not the expectation. I just feel like he's going to go someplace else and do better. I don't know that anybody's going to expect him to be a 1. Sometimes you got to find your fit like Wiggins did with Golden State. Mm-hmm. Everybody wanted Wiggins to be a 1. Okay. And it's not that he couldn't, it just didn't pan out. But he went to a team like Golden State at one point. How could you go wrong with that? And he could be a 3, a 4, sometimes a 2. And all of a sudden, play like lights out. Maybe Zach needs that pressure taken off of him to be that guy, and then he can play better. But that can't happen here because he was brought here with the expectation he was going to be that guy. He's got talent. He's just not the leader of the pack. That's just what it is.
I think that's probably the best way. Very succinct. Look at Barely Simple. I've had tendonitis in my left elbow for nearly a year now, but I'm 50.
Come on, though, but you don't have, you don't have access to all these amazing resources to keep tip top. These athletes get access to tip top stuff. Come on.
Yep. So, massages, all the latest technology, the cutting edge of technology.
The whole 9.
Yeah. The little Michael Jackson chambers, all those little thingies. Yeah. That's nuts. Keeping it moving. The next top of the morning topic. Yeah, this was a tough one. The Blackhawks. Yeah, the Blackhawks. They fall to the Predators. They get blanked by the Predators down in Nashville. Excuse me. 3-0. Soderblom stopped 33 of 35 shots, but unfortunately for them, no offense. The offense was left at the hotel. Apparently, oh well. But this is what you expect, Maya. This team is young. I mean, we do have a young man named Connor Bedard who is just exciting as all get out. But they're not a good team, but they're an exciting team. And sometimes you're just going to have games like this.
And that's just how it's going to be. I watched him and I said, for a while I was kind of very disinterested in the Blackhawks. I was like, I don't know what this is. Coaching switches, just kind of like a revolving door with different players, things like that. And then this Bedard shows up. And I was like, am I looking at the second coming of Patrick Kane?
Mm-hmm.
Am I seeing it? I mean, it's just because I remember exactly what it was like to watch Patrick Kane.
Yeah.
And they went out and got all the right pieces and put around him. I say and give it 2 to 3 seasons. This will look like a different team because there's something to be said about if you've been looking at just in general, just look at the Seattle Kraken, by the way. Still love it. I watched the Winter Classic. It was, the Krakens and the Knights. I like this. My 2 teams. Who am I going for today? But think about that. That's an expansion team and they're already competitive. So you can go out there and get some good pieces to put around Bedard. Let's see if this kind of new regime of Blackhawks, upper management, let's see what they can do at this point because you can't waste this. You can't. Well,
the Blackhawks are in a really good position. They're very similar to the Bears. They have in the next 3 or 4 years, they have 10 first and second round picks. So they're up there and they have the ability, if you want to sustain success, the best way to do it is through the draft. You got to draft and develop, as you always say. And it's best. I'm not saying it's that fourth and fifth rounders are horrible. No, what I'm saying is give me first and second rounders to draft and develop. And yeah, let me go find a diamond in the rough, someone I see who might have potential down the road. But man, give me guys with a higher floor and also a higher ceiling too. And so the Blackhawks are positioned rather nicely the next few years with those multiple first and second round draft picks to add that talent around Bedard and see where it goes. Like you said, when it happened with Patrick Kane, Lord have mercy, man. It gave us 3, should have been 4 Stanley Cups. And man, this sound was rocking for a while.
Yeah, it didn't hurt. Obviously, he had Taze. I mean, that was it was like your Jordan Pippen. It was Taze and Kane. I mean, so Bedard doesn't necessarily have his 1-2 punch there. But the other thing the Blackhawks mastered wasn't just about all the younger people. Of course, there was, Keith and there was Sharp, and it was just, and then when they went and got Hossa, that was the Holy Grail. That was the Holy Grail.
That was it.
Hossa, the Holy Grail. That was just whew. When he left the way he left, I was like, oh, that's not the way you want to see it. But the other thing they need to do is get into free agency because what they do need, because I've been watching quite a bit at the NHL, right now the big body movement is on. Teams are big, they're physical. That piece is coming back a little bit. So remember they went and got some of those older, more seasoned players that they put around that core at that point. So when they get to that point, they got to get back out there in free agency and go get those veteran players that are physical, that are hard players, so you can have some depth throughout the lines is going to be the important part.
Well, speaking of Connor Bedard, again, this kid just continues. Connor Bedard was named the NHL Rookie of the Month for the 2nd consecutive month. Gee, there's a shocker. He led all rookies with 15 points, 5 goals, and 10 assists in 15 games. This kid is just special. I mean, this kid, I don't know if you remember, Jason and I went to go see the first preseason game. And I mean, it literally took about 30 seconds before he took his first shot. They faced off. They got the puck back. They moved around. He came up. I was like, no, he's not going to shoot right. Whoop! Oh, my God. This kid is not shy. And as you've seen, he is unveiling slowly but surely another wrinkle, another trick up his sleeve, another this. I'm like, this kid is amazing.
And that's the thing about hockey. Like, yes, people have to kind of get past the green, but you get those like ones like him and Kane. And he actually reminds me a little bit of Crosby too. They came into the game like ready to play at that level. Yeah. And it's when you get someone who like doesn't have this slow matriculation into this, that's a big deal because otherwise you'd be sitting up. But I said 2 to 3 seasons, not necessarily because of him, just finding the rest that has to go around him.
Right. And that's what you need. You need those other pieces around him because he obviously can't do it himself. Listen, let's take a quick break. And on the other side of the break, we'll have more top of the morning topic. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
Hey, it's your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
Time out. How are you feeling right now? Happy? Excited? Angry? Overwhelmed? One of the best things you can do for your mind health is to name what you're feeling. It can sharpen your awareness and help you talk about your feelings with someone you trust. Here are 3 questions to ask yourself. Where are your thoughts right now? In the past, the present, the future? Do you notice any sensations in your body? Is your heart beating fast? Is there a flutter in your stomach? Or are you fully relaxed? What do you need right now? Time with others? Time to yourself? Remember, there's power in this awareness. So find ways to identify what you're feeling today.
Hi, guys. Hey. Hi, Megan. Hey, Jessica. Megan, you're a tramp. Ryan Fitch told me you guys made out. Everybody knows. He said your breath smells like garbage. And he almost puked. He says you're the most desperate girl he knows, besides your mom. How many boyfriends does she have anyway? Lots? Your makeup makes you look like a clown. That zit is huge, zit face.
Hey, bud, what you doing?
I'm playing with cars.
Cars? Can you show me what a car does? Whoa. Hold on a second. First of all, this is a school zone. So you need to put down your cell phone, stop texting, and let's get to driving. Now you're coming up to a stop sign, right? You need to slow down and stop before you hit that Y line. I want you to look left, right, left. You don't want to get hit by a car going on your left, and to your right to make sure you don't get sideswiped by a guy coming from your right. You're coming, and you see a crosswalk. You better slow your horses down, because the #1 rule of driving is always yield to pedestrians. Now stop, pull over, and you are done driving. Gosh, what do they teach you kids in school nowadays?
This year and years past knows why he's supposed to be doing certain things, like throwing the ball deep to DJ Moore out of bounds. That extends another game. Bears offense in the red zone. Fields on the rollout. Off balance throw across the body. It's there inside the 10-yard line for Robert Tonyan. Trent Taylor in motion. There is Fields in his legs. Dances outside. Stretches. Touchdown, Justin Fields.
The left side of your screen there. DJ Moore pulling the jersey towards him. Terrell's not happy to right tackle.
Get the snap off in time. 3rd down, 8 to go. Heineke dances, swallowed up.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Those clips courtesy of CBS. It was fun. It was fun. The snow was out. The snow was coming down. It wasn't too crazy, but the snow was coming out. The bare weather, the atmosphere, and it wasn't too cold either. It was a cold day, but it wasn't too cold. You know, it wasn't 15, 10 degrees, 0. It was like 40-ish, 35, 40-ish, which wasn't too bad. I mean, I can't say I was in the box, but like for people outside, it wasn't too cold. So it was
as you were not sitting outside. So I
right.
think it's funny how you trying to like say, oh, I went up, but no, it was cold outside. Stop playing.
No, see, and if you were cold, then that was your fault because let me say, if you're a Chicagoan and you've been to Bear games before, you know you have to make sure you're comfortable, or you have to make sure that you layer. And if you don't, like, come on.
Look,
come on.
I have attempted that. I don't care how many layers I have on. I am cold. I am a person of the sun. I do not need to be sitting outside in the cold. So I understand my limitations. So hence, if it's not a dome in the winter, I'm not going.
Or a suite, or if you're not in a box.
I might heat. That'd be the one time that I wouldn't have a hot flash, and I would need to. No. No. So you can say that it wasn't cold. No, that was cold outside. I don't care what you say.
Well, it definitely had a phenomenal backdrop with the snow flurries going back and forth.
Yeah, you guys got a late Christmas. How about that?
Yeah. Mondo said it wasn't bad out there. Yet my junior Mondo was there. Yeah, good stuff. Well, where were we? Oh yeah, top of the morning topics. It is set. It is set. College football national championship game is set. Number 1, Michigan versus number 2, Washington. JJ McCarthy, Michael Penix. Dude, I'm excited about this, Maya. Look at these companies. Flyers are nice.
I mean, it's going to be a good matchup. Washington's defense isn't, to me, the greatest. I mean, they're serviceable. It's if they have an Achilles heel, it's their defense. I'm going to be one of the few people, somebody's going to like gasp when I say this. I'm not overly impressed with McCarthy. He's good, but I see a lot of things that if you were paying attention that you can exploit. So it's going to be a good matchup. It's a good moment for Harbaugh. You know, if anyone's stepping into this, he's ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan has worked hard, and they have represented the Big Ten phenomenally. Like, there's no question about it. They look good on both sides of the ball. They have a lot of good offensive weapons, which to me covers up a lot of things, so to speak. But either way, I think it's going to be a good matchup.
I tweeted it out. I posted it on Facebook. I honestly didn't think Michigan had a chance.
I don't understand why you thought that. I totally.
I didn't, because Alabama. And if you look at the third quarter, I'm like, man, this is what I expected of Alabama. And Alabama dominated that third quarter and into the beginning of the fourth, and then Michigan turned it back on. Michigan dominated the first half, and the reason I thought that was because first of all, I didn't think. I just thought, man, I think that Alabama's just going to have too many horses, and then Michigan comes out and dominates the first half, 5 sacks, and they're still only up by 3. I'm like, that was a little concerning to me. And then they came out and they look like the old Alabama, and Michigan. Mad respect to Harbaugh and that whole team. They came back, they tied it, took it to OT, won it OT, and that defensive line. My goodness! I'll eat crow, and I got to eat crow. I did not think that Michigan was that good, and boy, was I wrong.
I legitimately, I did think they were that good. I'll flat out tell you, to me, this clearly is not the best Saban Alabama team I've seen. That's why I was like, this is doable, because I've seen better Alabama teams. So, again, quarterback, okay, didn't do anything for me. You know, he was okay. I just didn't think that based on what I had seen in the past. But I will also say this to you out of fairness. Alabama made some mistakes that also cost them the game. Some things they could have done, some penalties, things like that. You know, but then that's part of the landscape. You make mistakes. If it works against you, it just does. But I never looked at this for 1 minute and didn't think. I felt if Michigan's O-line kept McCarthy upright off the ground, and moving the ball forward. I felt like Michigan had a good enough chance. Their defense is solid. Their defense is very solid. So I didn't take exception. I'm like, they had to bring their best game. And even with Michigan, I was like, they made some mistakes in there too. But I never felt for one moment it was like just like a shoe-in for Alabama, because I don't feel like this is the best Alabama team I've actually seen. So I was like, but I felt like they were going into this equally yoked to a degree. So I mean, it was a good game. Right down, you gotta love it. You got a little OT in there, you know.
Yeah.
The moment. So it was good.
Yeah, Michigan. I thought in Michigan, really, their special teams really tried to give that game away. You know, the missed extra point, which really, I was like, man, you can't keep giving points away. That 1 point could have made the whole difference.
Yes.
Then they missed the field goal. It hit the upright, and then the botched punt. I'm like, oh my goodness, oh my god, it was crazy. But man, they held strong, and a very bad read by. And I saw when he ran it by the quarterback from Alabama on that fourth down. There's a low snap, Milroe. There was a low snap, but he went right into the line. If he just would have followed his pulling guard, he would, because the defensive end crashed, but he crashed high, and he could have gone right underneath him and literally skipped into the end zone. But that's, it happens. It happens, and all the credit in the world goes to Michigan. All the credit in the world goes to JJ McCarthy. I think JJ McCarthy is going to have a really good NFL career if he gets with the right system. I think
that's going to be the thing right there. If he gets into the right system. He has obviously good skill sets, but they're not exceptional to me. They're not exceptional. I didn't look at either one of them and felt like they were exceptional. So I'm like, it's so important that you get into the right system that's going to be able to develop you. Like I said, it's so easy to look at people at this level and just assume like, oh yeah, it's going to matriculate. No, because we've seen enough the Mac Jones and others of the world who have struggled.
Yeah, and I think JJ could be an excellent game manager. Maybe and people say, oh, here's all the Cam Newton hate, but they think a game manager means you suck. No, it doesn't mean you suck. No. It means that you don't have it means you're not a superstar. Okay, you can be a superstar in that system, and if you make all your throws and you're on time, everything's on time. Yeah, you can have a really good career. Look at Brock Purdy. All right, he's not a great quarterback. Okay, but what does he do? He gets to great players. He throws to Debo. He throws to Christian McCaffrey. He throws to Brendan Ayuk. He throws to Kittle. Simple.
He gets it done. And sometimes you really do need efficiency more than you need anything else.
Bingo.
But the human mind does not work that way. It always wants something bigger, badder, sexier. It's like, no, sometimes just get a person who can get the job done, because as long as it equates into that W, that's what matters. But people always they want the big arm. They want just all this extra stuff. I'll say this, and somebody will cringe when I say this. When Tom Brady came to the Patriots behind Bledsoe, Brady did not come to the Patriots with any fanfare. No one even knew remotely he'd be that guy. And truth, it was to me paramount that Brady left New England and went to Tampa to win, to show I can do this outside the system. It's not, because you always question that. If you're great with a team like the Peyton Mannings and this and that, you're like, but can you do it with somebody else? Is what the question becomes. Now, mind you, you're not a single player by yourself. Other people are in the mix. So it isn't just you. But he showed at an old age, by the way, that he could get it done. But I also say this. But look at the development time that he had when he was in New England at the same time too, that allowed him to become that quarterback. So I agree with you. I'm not overly in love with JJ McCarthy. I'm not. It all depends on where he ends. When it comes to me, a lot of these quarterbacks I'm looking at, if you go to the wrong team, it could be your undoing, and you may never. I mean, can you think of a quarterback right now who's still they're trying to keep hope alive? You think they're going to be better, and it just. And they've now been around in maybe more than one team, and it's just not happening.
Mac Jones up in New York, and to a certain extent, Justin Fields here. I was one of the things that I said, that I talked about. I went back and looked, and I'm going to pull it up here because I want to show everyone that I did my homework. And we talked about systems. And everyone, and there's a lot of times people say, well, this guy, he's better than Justin Fields. He's better if and there was I forgot who said it. If you put any of these quarterbacks on the Bears, they'd be much better, either Mahomes or Tua or Lamar or Allen. And I said, but wait a minute. I said, are you putting them on the Bears before they got with their quarterback guy or after? Because if you look at every single quarterback, go back to Cam Newton, he had Mike Shula. All right, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Joe Burrow, Brian Callahan, same guy his entire time in Cincy. Justin Herbert has Kellen Moore. Lamar had Greg Roman. Tua, remember Tua, they're about to run him out of Miami. He was going to be a bust until Mike McDaniel got there.
Right.
Jalen Hurts, Doug Peterson, Josh Allen. They wanted to run him out of Buffalo until Brian Dable got there as the offensive coordinator. So when you don't have the coaching, that's the most important thing. The talent is great, but when you don't have the coaching to mold it, that's the issue with that. That'll be the thing. So if you can have a good quarterback and the skill set, but if he's in the wrong system or not coached right.
I mean, and then that's the whole thing. It's like when you get to the NFL, it's like they drafted you because they felt like you have the raw talent. We saw something in college, that we feel like you've got some fundamentals in place that we can build upon. The whole thing when you get up to that point is literally about the things you develop, you coach them up. That's what it comes down to, because you feel like the raw talent's there. Like we could probably go through the list of like I think about who I was talking about, kind of just meandering around right now, and it's like everyone thought he was going to be a good fit. Look at that Baker Mayfield.
Yeah. And
you felt like, okay, you're just in the wrong place. We got to figure out where to get you. So, and I'm not going to disagree. Justin landed, and I don't know if there's a right time to land in Chicago, if truth be told. I don't know, just because everything in here is in flux in regards to coaching and stuff like that. But you're right. People then look at you with like a scathing indictment, like you're not good enough. But what you just said, people need to remember. Tua, people were like, get rid of him. It was Josh Allen, get rid of him. Everyone was like, and all of a sudden, Hurts. And you change some things around and you see how quickly. Now look on the flip side of that. Imagine being like someone like Mahomes and you get Andy Reid. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So it does make a difference, but nobody ever wants to drill deep and actually acknowledge that you can't write them off so easily, especially if you've had multiple head coaches, different offensive coordinators. Your O-line isn't good. There's so many things that's going to make a quarterback's job good or god awful.
That's why, it bugs me. Like when I can't listen to Joy Taylor anymore. I love her. I think she's gorgeous. I love her. I've been infatuated with her for years. But her show Speak, I can't listen to her. Her and Shady McCoy, because the biggest thing that they talk about is Justin Fields' record as a starter, and he's 8 in this, he's 9 in this, and 9 in 20, and I'm like, okay, that's fine, and that's true, but give the whole picture. Don't just give the numbers that support your narrative. First year, he was running for his life. He had no wide receivers. He had no offensive line. He got destroyed in Cleveland. We talked about that this year. He had got sacked, 9 times, and Myles Garrett had 4.5 of them. All right. The next year, you took his defense, literally to the studs. You gutted it, and you're giving up 33 points a game on defense, and you expect Justin Fields with no wide receivers and a young offensive line to outscore people when there's good. You can't do that. And so that's why I'm like and then when Shady McCoy gets him, you should know you're in the NFL. You played in the NFL. You're an all-pro. I mean, a Super Bowl winner, if I'm not mistaken. And you don't realize this. So it's just hate.
Well, because
C-sharp. This is hilarious.
It's believing in that thought. It's like believing in that thought that everybody wants to put quarterbacks in this vacuum, which I think is so interesting because, like I said, too much of their job is dependent on other people. If I don't have a line, which I'm always ranting and raving about a line, it's the most uninteresting thing. But when it doesn't work, boy, do you have an issue with it. But when it works, why do you think that Dak Prescott looks so good all the time? One thing that Dallas has done consistently from his entire tenure as being their quarterback is their O-line is solid as all get out. So you can't discount the number. People like to use numbers, and numbers can lie if you don't put them in the proper context. This is why none of these people could ever be an astrophysicist, because we'd be somewhere dead if we was counting on them. Because you cannot rule out certain variables because it doesn't support your argument. And that's the thing about Justin Fields. You just had a whole bunch of other quarterbacks that everybody wanted to get rid of until things changed and things were put in place that could make them successful. And I don't know hard for people to grasp at this point. That's why I'm like, I don't think you just throw him away, because you do see there are things here that work. That a coordinator you might want to do something with, but
no, not might.
You might want to do something with him.
No, not might. he got to
Justin has
go.
shown you give him what he needs, and he has the ability. And not to mention, I got to give it to him though. He got a little upset with you, Shawn. Though
He did.
His mental resolve. I mean, he's tough. It's hard. I don't think people get how it feels to have a bunch of people telling you suck. We don't think it's a big deal, and we can say you need tough skin. Okay, that commercial that somebody said that girl was being a little big. Yeah, I would have been punched on the mouth. I'm not sure what that girl's problem was. I would have been expelled from school already. But but it's not, no matter who you are, when people talk that badly about you, you still go home and it still hurts.
Yeah,
that's why I was like, people need to slow down a little bit sometimes and stop
let me tap in your mental background over here. I think this is right in your wheelhouse. I think whoever the next coordinator that the Bears get, first of all, I think it's common knowledge that I'm a big Justin Fields advocate for them to keep him and build around him, especially if you can get a haul and continue to put good pieces around him. But my issue is this: he needs a specific type of coordinator. And I knew his dad was a cop, okay, but I didn't know his dad was a Marine. I just found that out recently. I'm like, well, that changes the narrative of everything. Because if you know about Marines, you know how Marines are very meticulous. Discipline is what they live by, period. So I have a good grasp. My Uncle Johnny, God rest his soul, was a Marine. And I know how he raised his kids, and Marines will raise their kids a certain way. And I've said this before, Justin is a good soldier. He's like, Justin, I need you to do this. He's one of those types of players. I've coached him. I need you to do this. Okay, cool. Tell me what to do and I'll do it. All right, get on me with a little tough love every once in a while. Show me some appreciation. Cool. I think Justin needs a lot more tough love because he responds to it. If you don't believe it, look at Ohio State. There's no coddling at Ohio State and Alabama, all these big schools, because I got a whole bunch of 5 stars right behind you that are ready to take your spot. It is tough love at those big spots. And Justin, excelled in that situation. Your thoughts on if you think that could be like the personality of the next offensive coordinator should be evaluated as well?
I mean, I definitely think you have to go into it with looking at, is this person going to be a good fit for our quarterback? Because that's your field general. That's what makes things run. And if he's not right, nothing else works. That's just the bottom line. So he's going to get that extra time and attention and focus, especially when you're talking about coaches. You definitely want someone who's going to work to his strength. Yes, from a mental standpoint, obviously, from the physical skills, ability standpoint. Like, don't be calling plays that don't make sense, which happens all the time to me. So yes, but on the flip side about I get that part about the Marines, but then I've also sat in therapy with people who are Marines. And for what you see on the exterior is what you don't see that's in the inside. So don't look at that facade so much and think they're just so tough. Yes, they are, but a lot of them suffer so deeply. So this is why I don't want to make an overstatement about it, because the struggles that they go to, feeling like they can't even be weak. It's not okay to hurt. And this has turned into many issues and not good things. So I'm just looking for some balance. I'm okay with somebody who's going to give you a little bit of tough love, because I think everybody could use that, period. You know what it's about? Accountability.
Right.
I just want somebody to walk in and be like, look, here's what I'm going to need from you. This, and this. Now, in me asking these 3 things of you, what do you need from me to help you to get to that point? Because this isn't like I want you to do this. This is an expectation. It is the standard that's being set. See, the problem is when a culture doesn't have standards and clear expectations, I think people just kind of do whatever. And we know the Bears culture, to me, has never been solid, period, across the board. You talk about systems, cultures. I know people think those are just buzzwords, but they actually do matter. And you can see it where people are successful when the buy-in is there from the players. So I want someone who comes in. We all feel this way. Like, you look at Harbaugh, right, at Michigan, and you look at him, and even though I'm sure most people think he is a D-bag, and he is, because I've heard stories from people who played for him, so on and so forth, and he is. But why do people respect that kind of BS? Because they want it. They want it. It's that accountability piece. If you're going to be on my team, you're gonna show up and you're gonna show out, because anything less, like you said, I'm about to sit you. That's it. Nobody should just be given a job. That's the other problem too. Don't just give people jobs. Make them earn it.
Yeah.
Make him feel like at any point in time, somebody is nipping at your heels like some little chihuahua waiting to take over. No one should ever get so comfortable until you've legitimately earned that spot. Like, ask Russell Wilson how that's feeling right about.
That's a whole nother show.
I'm like, just don't go make another baby. Just be all right, okay?
Yeah, he got enough money. Hell with it. No, I just think that I think that's probably the best way to put it, accountability. And I think that you need to. And as far as the NFL is the alpha sport of alpha sports. Like, you need to be able to say, "Hey, look, you're screwing up, dude. I need this. I need you to stop doing this. That's what I need." And I think Justin will respond well. It may be a little softer. Okay, fine. Like, Justin, you're not because the biggest thing that we had Eric on yesterday because we took Monday off. I talked about the footwork. Like, this is, my goodness, this is a West Coast offense. And footwork is everything. Timing is everything. And when you watch Justin and he saunters back in his drop back, it's maddening to me because the timing is, and people wonder why he's missing throws, why the timing isn't there, because his footwork is off. And in coaching, I've said it a million times, and I'll say it a million more. Whatever happens on the field is either being coached or being allowed. And Justin is being allowed to do that stuff, and that's why, for me, Getsy has to go. And people say he's improved. Okay, yeah, maybe he has. But there's little things that need to be done that aren't being done, and that's what's going to stop Justin from getting to the next level. Because everything starts with your feet as a quarterback. Everything, not your arm. No, everything starts with your feet.
This is the conversations about fundamentals. People tell you your entire
bingo.
life. So
bingo.
Guess what? Reading is fundamental. That's why a whole bunch of people are stupid because they don't want to read nothing. Real talk. I'm just a trill.
I know you are. That's what's funny because to be honest.
Just saying, you want to hide it, put it in print, and people won't know anything about it. Seriously. It can be the winning lottery numbers, and everybody could miss it. Seriously. But I agree. And we've said this from the very beginning. And when I'm coming out of hiding, we've talked about this, where it's the footwork, his timing, he holds the ball too long. These are all fundamental things that should have been worked on like last season. Seriously, to make these corrections. But then I also occasionally need you to make some plays that, okay, I don't care occasionally if you call a shotgun. If it works, then it works. But you're right. His fundamentals, he's having to learn all this on his own, like on the fly.
Yes.
And I totally agree with Cornelius about this. You throw him like with the other Harbaugh in Baltimore.
Oh,
he's thriving. He's thriving because that Harbaugh is patient. I've never seen him be disjointed ever. But yet, look how well he does with his players. I haven't. They are night and day by personality types. But I agree with that. If you put Justin in Baltimore, you see an entirely different player. So what you have to ask yourselves as a Bears fan before you just want to turf him, if he was somewhere else, given the track record with the Bears for having poor management decisions, coaching decisions, etc., would he be better? Would it be a possibility for what you've seen with his raw talent? If somebody really developed him, because nobody has really developed him, would he be a better player? And you'd have to say, I kind of think he would be a better player. I think you'd have more wins.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Well, listen, let's take a quick break. And then the other side of the break, we're going to talk more Bears with our guy, Evan Wynn from A to Z Sports. I'm fired up to talk to him. Man, final game of the season. Woo, Charlie, don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
Fields a run for 17. Back he goes. Here comes Chubb. There goes the ball. Touchdown! Jones will walk at the right tackle. Time for Fields. Now he'll accelerate to get the first down. Great tackles, and he's off to the races. And we got a terrific block.
For every generation, it has started with the call to serve. Discovering the purpose and the belonging earned with the title. Learning to dig deep and push through adversity together. Defending our nation and its people. It is a life of great worth and reward. But Marines are never really finished serving. Their commitment comes full circle, visible in communities across our country. This is Semper Fidelis, always faithful, always Marine, marking a path for the next generation.
So I've come up with the family emergency plan.
Great. What is it?
It's difficult to talk about, so I'm not telling you.
How will we know what to do?
You won't.
I'm so glad I won't have to remember anything.
And me too. Thanks for this, sweetie.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Search Ready Kids at nyc.gov or call 311.
A comfortable Fields hands it off on first down. Herbert gets through the initial rush to the outside and has the first down.
Blocking the back.
12th pass to the 11 runs for the Bears. Sidearm throw. Tyler Scott dances out of bounds. Tanyan in at tight end, handed off. Johnson marches through. Touchdown, Bears.
To keep it. That gun, look at Calais Campbell as he comes off that edge. He puts his foot in the ground for a split second to see who has the ball. And right there, Johnson.
After this play.
3rd and 8 through the light snow. Heineke over the middle. It's a diving interception. DJ Edwards. And the Bears with 1:02 left, still off 3 timeouts.
Welcome on in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Those clips courtesy, as you see, of CBS. Man, that was awesome. Great atmosphere. I love the snow. I love the we want Justin, we want Fields chance. It was awesome. Our next guest is the man over there at A to Z Sports. He's the managing editor over there. He's the head honcho. You can find him on Twitter at Evan_ATO A to Z ATOZ A to Z. Guys, just welcome back to Shawn and Maya. Evan Winter. Evan, what's up, Papa? Good morning.
What's up, man?
Morning.
It's morning, Maya. Nice to meet you. It's
Nice to meet you too.
It's so crazy that it's the final game of the regular season. I mean, it just we say it every year, it takes so long to get here and then it flies by, but it just becomes so much more and more true every single year. It's just wild. But so happy to be on and talking Bears football with y'all.
Man, I love it. So talk to me about this, all right? Justin has a pretty good game yesterday, the other day, 268, a tutty, another 40, 50 yards, a tutty. Was that one of the best performances that you think you've seen from him? Despite the conditions, it was a little snowy, little yucky. The field wasn't too bad, but talk to me about what you thought of his performance on Sunday.
Yeah, overall, I thought he played well, especially with the conditions. But as y'all were talking about before I hopped on, you still see those issues with the fundamentals and little things, and as you so eloquently stated and truthfully stated, Maya, people are dumb because they don't read. It's the fundamentals. By the way, I'm getting that put on a t-shirt. It's one of the greatest quotes I've heard in a very, very long time. And it's also so true. But either way, you feel good about the performance. You like where you're going, and I'm with y'all as well. The jury is still out on Getsy. I don't know if you bring him back next year in terms of offensive coordinator. We can talk about that here a little bit later. But yeah, you still see those little things that you sit there and you watch them develop and you're like, man, if only, he came off that read a little quicker or so on and so forth, it would take his game to that, to that elite level, because right now he's still that kind of in that tweener mode of, average to can be very, very good. We've seen the elite flashes from time to time. We just haven't seen them consistently enough up until this point. But overall, I thought he played well. DJ Moore has just been an absolute oh my God, he's just been the best thing for his development this year. And, obviously it can get very, very deep in terms of the debate and on which side you stand of whether they should bring Justin Fields back next year. But I think with the surplus of running backs they brought in and what they were able to do with the running game this year with DJ Moore, with Cole Kmet ascending, if you continue to put weapons around Justin Fields, he should only continue to get better. But like y'all said, the little things are what's going to ultimately keep his ceiling low or raise it ultimately.
So if it's up to you, you're in the draft. What are you can have anything you want. What are you picking? What is the thing you feel like, okay, this I feel can be the piece that's going to take them to the next level?
Yeah, it's crazy to think that this year they're in an even better spot than they were in last year, and they have a way better record, right? I mean, the last 2 years have just been, if you're a team trying to rediscover the path to winning, these last 2 years are exactly what you want to see if you're that fan. But anyways, man, it's tough. It really is, because like you said, you can do whatever you want. But if I'm the Bears, I'm sticking with Fields. Obviously, the big decision, and this will have to happen before the draft, is approving his 5th-year option. Obviously, that's going to be huge before the draft. But if I'm the Bears, I'm sticking with him, and I'm going to take Marvin Harrison with that 1st overall pick. Marvin Harrison Jr. rather. Sorry. Or, if they trade, I saw the report from Jeremy Fowler yesterday where they could get a 2nd or a 3rd round pick for Justin Fields, which I don't really buy into that. I don't really think that's worth the value for him. But they can also still trade back with a team in the top 5 and get a better package of picks than they did last year with Carolina, which is crazy to think. So even if they trade back to number 3, still take Marvin Harrison. Either way, with that 1st pick, you take Marvin Harrison Jr. With that 2nd pick, obviously they've got, the best thing about the Bears too is they've got a lot of the premier positions locked up going into this draft. You've got 2 corners. Well, if you re-sign Jalen Johnson, you've got 2 corners on the outside. You've got Quan Brisker and Eddie Jackson coming back, even though Eddie could end up being a cap casualty. But you've got your defensive line. You really need an opposite edge. So maybe take an edge with that 2nd first-round pick, because obviously that's a premier position that justifies the value. Braxton Jones has left tackle locked up. So if he can quit with all the penalties, that would be great. That's what he needs to work on next. But yeah, I mean, there's just really, you can kind of do whatever you want with that 2nd pick, because you've got a lot of the premier positions locked up in terms of, draft status and stuff like that.
I agree with you. You go for Harrison Jr. I mean, can you see what that looks like?
Oh man,
wide receiving core, which is going to make Cole Kmet even better, because he's just that additional threat that you don't see. I mean, he's not from tight end U, but he's still pretty good. So if I give you the stamp of approval,
then look too with all the pass catching running backs too. I mean, you will literally have threats at every single level on offense, and you can do it. Is.
I don't think what other people realize is like, okay, so if you do this whim, this is why the average person don't have these kind of jobs, because again, they don't read anything. But literally, if you decide you really want Caleb Williams that bad, then you've reset your team at least 2 to 3 years.
Right.
Because now you have to develop him as a quarterback. So I don't know if people realize, if you were going to throw out what development time that you've had with Fields, which is not all his fault that he is where he is, you're going to you think you're going to insert Caleb Williams into this system and you think he's going to thrive? Like, I don't know if people just aren't thinking about the totality of, you're back to development square one with a rookie quarterback that you don't know if he's going to be any better than what you already have. So the gamble is you stick with Fields. In the offseason, someone pulls him to the side, right? And says, we need to work on, the fundamentals a little bit. You know what? And then you go get Moore, if you get Harrison, and they go spend some summertime together.
Right.
Oh, and they will. Dustin has done that his first 2 years here. So and plus DJ Moore had already come out and said that him and Marvin Harrison Jr. grew up together on the same track team. He was a little older than him. So as soon as Justin says, hey, we're meeting in Georgia, Miami, LA, not only is DJ Moore going, Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be there. And it would be a situation like Peyton Manning had. So you had Marvin Harrison Sr., and he's a gold jacket winner. And then you go get Reggie Wayne. And what does he turn into? A possible gold jacket winner. So it's really the best of things. I do think, for me, in my assessment, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. might be the only sure thing in this draft. And there are no such thing as sure things, but to me, he's the closest thing to the surest thing in this draft, just because of his pedigree, his route running, his height, his playmaking ability. There's everything that I love about him. And I think it's you go get him. Excuse me. How far back do you think you can go before you might miss out on him? Because now, maybe people like Penix, maybe people like Bo Nix, maybe someone jumps up in that 3 spot for a quarterback. Because we know for the most part, those first 2 picks are quarterbacks, 1 and 2. Right. Can you go 4? Yeah. Can you go 5, Evan?
So I'm looking at the draft order right now. You got obviously Chicago 1. Then you got Washington, which they're going to fire Ron Rivera. If they don't, that's just an awful decision to keep him. Love Ron Rivera, great guy, but he just can't get it done. So they're not going to stick with Sam Howell. You wouldn't think, especially a new regime. New England, if they don't fire Bill Belichick, they're crazy. I mean, just imagine that franchise getting top 3 pick, chance to start over, all that stuff, and not taking that chance. Either way, they're going to look for a quarterback. Arizona obviously has Kyler, so they're set for the most part. Yeah, I mean, you could probably – the Giants at 5 is where I kind of wonder, because obviously you got the Daniel Jones contract, but obviously he just ain't it. You know, that we knew that before he even got the new contract. Still don't know why the Giants did that. I think probably safe bet go back as far as 4 or 3 rather. Sorry, because Arizona could easily. I mean, they need a wide receiver. They just traded away DeAndre Hopkins. Sure, they've got a couple guys down there doing a couple things, but I think Arizona would be a prime target for Marvin Harrison Jr. So I think if you can stay before Arizona, even the Giants too, because the Giants need a receiver. I think 3 is probably about as far back as you can go right now. At least.
Yeah, I would have liked, for me, it would have been perfect. Guys, we're joined by Evan Winter. And no, guys, he's not the GM of the Bears. I was just being a funny guy. He's the managing editor over at A to Z Sports, talking Bears football here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. I would have loved if Washington was 3.
Right.
All right, because they're going to jump up. They know they're going to want to get one of those 2 guys. And it would have been perfect. Okay, you're giving us 3 first-round picks and give me Daron Payne. No Daron Payne? Okay, then give me Jonathan Allen. No Jonathan Allen, then give me scary Terry McLaurin on the outside. Now I'll have a plethora of wide receivers for Justin Fields. Just sit and think about DJ Moore, scary Terry, and you still can get Marvin Harrison Jr. What the heck would that be? But unfortunately, well, who knows? Maybe Washington wants to jump up because they want their guy and they know we're getting rid of it. And someone else might jump up and take it. So we're still in play with Washington, but I think we'd only get 2 firsts along with a player, and I think that'd be crazy. Talk to me, though, about the defense real quick. I know you got to run in a couple minutes, but I want this defense. Talk to me on how close you think this defense is to being a Super Bowl caliber defense.
Yeah, man. I mean, you got to love what has happened with this defense. I mean, TJ Edwards, good God, he has just been an absolute stud in the middle of that defense, or on the weak side of the defense, however you want to phrase it. And obviously, you know, Tremaine has done well. The whole front 7, you know, if you can find that one more edge out opposite Montez Sweat, who has just been an absolute revelation since he was traded. Yeah, if you can get that other edge, yeah, I mean, you're talking about an elite defense. The back end keeps looking better and better. Tyreek Stevenson tied for the team lead, 4 interceptions. Kyler Gordon, all that, you know, coming out of the draft, everybody knew he was going to be really raw and he was going to take a little bit of time to get going, but he looks like he's finally starting to get going. If you bring Jalen Johnson back, again, like we talked about a little earlier, that gives you your 2 corners on the outside and you got Kyler on the inside. You really got to like what's going on right now. If Jaquan Brisker and Eddie can stay healthy on the back end and Jaquan continue to develop, then, you know, you're looking at a really, really, really good defense in 2024. Just add the depth pieces, you know, and they could draft another corner for all I care, because as we've seen, you know, in the first couple of rounds, because as we've seen, you can't have too many corners in this league and guys get hurt all the time. So loading up at those premier positions, even maybe drafting 2 edges. And then granted, you probably would want to bring one in through free agency, just because it's a position that sometimes takes a little while to develop. You know, defensive line, tight end, those positions tend to take a little bit longer to develop than the other positions. But still, at least nabbing one of those defensive ends, one of those edge rushers, and then, you know, Zach Pickens, Javon Dexter, and DeMarcus Walker can keep doing their thing at 3 tech. You're looking at a really, really good defense in 2024.
What about the line, the O-line? I mean, I know no one wants to talk about it. It's so uninteresting.
Unsexy. Not sexy, baby.
Not until it doesn't work. And then everybody has something to say. Thoughts about that? Like, because obviously there's always going to be O-linemen in the draft. You know, you can find them, you know, no one's going for them. You just had to do your homework to know what you wanted to select to put in there. Kind of thoughts with where you think they can improve with that.
Yeah, definitely think it's on the interior. You know, Cody Whitehair just had a really, really bad season. He's looking like he's going to be a cap casualty next year. I think the Bears can save like $9.9 million if they let him go. Nate Davis had a really off year. You know, he was a big free agent pickup they had. But obviously going into year 2 of his deal, I don't really know if there's much flexibility in terms of his contract, what you can do. And obviously Lucas Packard has been a good depth guy, but he's not the guy you want out there starting every week. So I definitely think, you know, outside of Nate Davis, just specifically because of his contract, and I don't know the firm details going into next year. My hunch says there's probably not much you can do in terms of manipulating the contract, so on and so forth. But yeah, you definitely need to look at getting a center and a guard at some point along the way. And I think too, that's what will help, because, you know, Fields, obviously the tackles do well enough. Darnell Wright, he had some struggles this year, but he played well enough in my opinion. Braxton Jones, he might not ever be an elite left tackle, but he can be a really good left tackle. And I know, Shawn, we've talked about this before. If you're getting that in the 6th, 7th round, wherever he was drafted, that's just a steal all day, and you ride that. You ride that until the ceiling just absolutely just plateaus all day long. But I thought, obviously Fields has the escapability, right? He can get out when the ends.
We saw.
Yeah. So what can really hurt him and just any other quarterback is when that interior cylinder collapses and they cannot step up. They cannot even run out. They can't even get out of the tackle box. If the Bears can get some good push up there and get the solid cylinder up front, on a consistent basis, good for him. I think that would be just as valuable as drafting Marvin Harrison Jr. So yeah, they definitely need to make some upgrades on the interior this year for sure.
Before we let you go, what would you think of this? What if you went and signed, and this was my thing, a Danielle Hunter?
I would love, yeah.
And then you can draft an edge in the 2nd or 3rd round and develop him and things like that. So now the defense, for all intents and purposes, is set because you have your 2 edge rushers, and who knows with this pick, because we've already seen Ryan Poles. Ryan Poles showed I'm coming out with a player for this number 1 pick. I'm getting draft picks, but I'm giving me a player. And if Washington, for whatever reason, wants to come up off of a Deron Payne, shut the front door.
Oh man, that would be just if they got Deron Payne or Jonathan Allen, yeah, then you're talking Super Bowl caliber defense all day long. And yeah, Danielle Hunter, they need to go after him. That dude his name should be in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation a lot more than what it is right now. I mean, he was leading the NFL in sacks just like a week or so ago. I mean, he's been an absolute stud. Going to be expensive, but hey, for that and that's the one thing people with the Montez Sweat trade, a lot of people are hating on the Bears, and it's like, dude, you don't understand, like, he has a proven product in Sweat. The guy has been developed. Like we were talking about, defensive line sometimes takes years to develop. You're better off going ahead and getting that instant production now and paying him now than rolling the dice and wasting one of these draft picks. Now you can draft that edge in the 2nd or 3rd if you want, and let him sit behind 2 stud veteran defensive ends that know how to get it done in the NFL. So, it's all about creating the environment, and the Bears are in a great spot to make a lot of waves this offseason.
Evan, great stuff, Papa. I appreciate it. Awesome as always. But before you go, do me a favor, let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
Yeah, so A2ZSports.com, all 32 teams, we've got them up and running. So, any team that you might have interest in, we've got coverage on, and we're only growing the staff and expanding more and more. And then you can find me on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, at Evan_ATOZ.
All right.
So you got all 32 teams now. Remember, as you've been coming along, like we're building, we're getting more. We got more. So you got them all covered, dude. That's awesome. That's great stuff.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's fun times, man. So yeah, definitely be sure to check it out.
Awesome, buddy. We'll talk soon, man. Bear down.
Yes, sir. Bear down. See you. See the necklace. See you, man.
Yeah, you like it, huh? Bears victory cane. All right, now, guys. That's Evan Winter from A to Z Sports talking Bears football with us, and yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff, and the one thing that I was saying earlier, Maya, is I want stay with Justin, but also pick up his 5th-year option, and here's why. Now he's budgeted. Okay, his 5th-year option is going to be like $24 million. He gets $6 million next year in his 4th year. So you're talking $31 million. So $15 million average, $15 million a year for the next 2 years for a starting quarterback in the NFL is pretty cheap. Okay, when you look at it, it's pretty cheap. But not only that, so if he doesn't work out next year, we're still going to get a number 1 pick next year. Now, it might not be the number 1 overall pick, but you can still look at quarterbacks next year, and it's easier to move him to another team and say, hey, listen, next year he's only worth $23 million because now he's budgeted. So not only do you know what he's going to cost, but if you want to move him, everyone else knows what he's going to cost, and they can make arrangements and adjustments for that $23 million at that particular point. That's why I think they do that. But let me ask you this. Do you think a conversation was had with Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus? Because now there's a lot more coming out. It's like Matt Eberflus is coming back, and Ian Rappaport said, I'd be surprised if Matt Eberflus wasn't brought back. I'd be really surprised. They even asked him about that in the presser. Do you think there was a conversation with Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus and saying, Ryan Poles telling Eberflus, look, Your first year, I'm going to gut this defense. I need cap room. I need this. I need that. Okay. And next year, we're going to have a better defense. We're going to build the offense. You're going to take a lot of hits. You're going to take some losses.
Yeah.
So in 23, it's going to be tough. But in 24, I'll truly, truly be able to evaluate you because Justin Fields should have grown. We'll get more pieces on offense. We'll get more pieces on defense. Do you think there was a conversation like that was had?
Absolutely. There's no way that Poles could have did what he did without not asking permission of Eberflus.
Right.
Just letting him know what the game plan is. You know what I mean? Because you can't, because this is the person who's got to take what you give him and he's got to work with it. So you don't blindside him without knowing what he's going to have to deal with. So, I mean, if you are a solid manager, that's what you do. You keep people in the loop about what your plan is. Like, this is the short term. This is the long term. This is where we're trying to get. So I absolutely believe that he gave him the heads up on what he was going to do. And Eberflus is like, I just want to do my job. You know, I don't think he is trying to be, he's not that head coach who's trying to be more than the head coach. You know, he's okay with his job. So we all know that everybody agrees that they don't like the offensive coordinator. Everybody. Getsy, gotta go. Get out. Go. Just not a fit. Doesn't work to your quarterback strengths. You know, that to me is so much you can look at when people just are so hell-bent on wanting to do things their way and they refuse to see what's in front of them and say, okay, I know I want to do this, but he doesn't necessarily have that ability piece yet, but you could always work on developing that piece. And that patience piece wasn't there. But I think people get in and think, well, this is my job to do that. So I think Poles had a conversation with everybody. If you want to know the truth, one thing I'll say about him, he's not one that makes me think that he minces his words.
I don't think so either.
I don't think he's rude or disrespectful, but you know, he already knows.
Direct.
Yes,
direct.
He's direct, but he also knows that he stepped into a role that it was not going to be easy. The expectations were going to be high. If you're going to clean house and you're going to bring these people in, because, you know, this whole search was there and the whole president thing, you know, he realizes that he needs to have success. And he knew he was going to make hard choices that people were going to not agree with. That's okay. That's why they're not getting paid. So don't worry about it. Just do what you got to do. So if we could sit here and we can say how things aren't right, how, yes, they're under 500 team, but at some point, if you're going to be a true analyst of this, ask yourself a question. For everything you can see wrong, what has gotten better?
Boom.
And is there a result of it? So because there are more wins this year versus last year, that means there is incremental progress. Now, getting small-minded people to see that sometimes is a problem. Because I don't know why people think it's big go or go home. People, we're in Illinois. We are not in Texas. Okay. We ain't putting people on buses and just sending them places like that. We don't do that here. Okay. Okay. That's not what we do here in Chicago. All right. So with that being said, you have to look at the whole picture. You can't just see one piece of this, and you have to take everything into account. And because you are seeing a better record than last year, that means something here is working. I'm not saying it's working 100%, but if you can then identify and say, we got to fix this, we need that, we need this. And that's what they've been doing since last year. They let pieces go. It was hard to see, right? Like, whoa, okay. And here we are now. But you now have seen, if there would have been no fruits of that labor, like if let's say they were worse than last year, then you could maybe be upset.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there has been incremental progress. And anytime it's about change in like football specifically, because it's a team sport, you know, it's not like one big trade changes everything. You know what I mean? Well, maybe. Who knows?
Well, I was just going to say, hold on, player. And Montez Sweat trade.
Wait, but I don't know. But now I'm going to say this, and it's not against Justin. You go get a good veteran quarterback, and this team might look a little different. You know what I'm saying? Because a veteran has the experience. You know what I'm saying? He understands what to do.
Look at Joe Flacco.
Exactly. He doesn't have to do flash. He just knows how to be a game manager. So hence, but you have a younger quarterback that has had to learn on the fly. No one has taught Justin anything at this level. He's had to learn on his own. So hence, have patience and see you are seeing progress even with him. And that's where people just need to step back, buckle up, And if you're really Bears fans, unlike my wishy-washy ass, you know me, I'm always off doing something else with somebody else. You know I am. Yes, you can talk about me. I don't care. And they ain't doing good anyways. So I'm just out there at this point, just looking for somebody.
It's karma for the streets. It's karma for the streets.
Right. It's karma from the streets because this just is not working for me. I'm like, nobody want to win. Nobody really. So here I am. I don't have a single team. So I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna sit here and see what the Bears are doing. I'm like, I've come back home now since I've run around, I've run the streets. There ain't nothing out there really. So I'm back. I'm back from the streets, right? But I've been paying attention.
She's returned.
I've never stopped watching. I mean, but I'm like, I'm back because everybody else is not doing well. This has been a very quirky NFL year to me.
The one thing I will disagree with you, Maya, is the time. Look at the defense.
Mm-hmm.
That's changed. We are 31st against the run last year. We are number 1. We're literally next to last from the run, and we are number 1 this year. This pass defense is unbelievable. That defense has been changed around literally in a season and a half. Once they got that Montez Sweat trade, they made that trade, and then the development of Kyler Gordon, the development of Jaquan Brisker, the continued development of Jalen Johnson, and the rapid development of Tyreek Stevenson. The rapid man. I asked him the other day, in where his confidence was. Is it this one? Yeah, it's this one. And this is what he had to say. I was like, okay. And I love how he shows how intelligent what he does and watches his teammate.
You talked about the game slowing down for you. How comfortable are you out there right now?
Very comfortable because of the guys around me. The guys around me have been pushing me since I got here. I pretty much got thrown in the fire, and all them guys been doing is just, using their fiery signature to try to put it out and just give me the confidence that I need.
Did you beat that quarterback on that first TD? Because it looked like you were sunk in and you were waiting for him to throw it. As soon as he turned his hips, he sunk back.
It was cover 2. Just studying a little Jalen Johnson film. Show him short, but make sure we able to get back. Just kept my hips open. Know I had my responsibility low, but also know I got to help the safety high and just, he put the ball in harm's way, and I'm gonna go get it every time.
He said, I was watching that Jalen Johnson film. This is film made of his film of his teammate. And I mean, that's if your teammates having success and getting a lot of picks, maybe I should watch what he's doing. Call me crazy.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, so it's like people have to step back and look at this in its totality. There's been a lot of development across the board. I mean, look what we finally see from Komet. And at one point we probably felt like maybe not. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So this is just not one of those sports that everything is just going to materialize the way that you want it to immediately. And you have to be, now mind you, I would say next year would definitely be a show up year. Like, I feel like once they start plugging in some stuff, this is when you need to be at least a 500 or better team. That's my whole point. You're in a weak division, to be honest, a weak division. So there's I want them to have goals like we want to win the division next year. I don't think that's impossible because this is a weak division. I don't feel like it's not doable, but there are some pieces they have to plug in. But at bare minimums, say 8 or bust, or it's not even 8 anymore because it's like what?
17 games.
17 games. But you need to be like, better than a 500 team. Set short-term goals that will yield long-term results. I don't think people get that. You just don't do something and it materializes. Anything that's happened big, if you paid attention, had all these little steps of how people got there. It's those short-term steps that lead to the final destination. But I don't know why people just get in their heads that this is just supposed to happen. But I think
it's the Super Bowl this year because this, no. Boom, step by step by step by step. It's so,
not.
Let me ask you this question then.
What?
And I know you're as cold and heartless as anybody when it comes in business sports and business side of it.
Oh yeah, you know me.
If Harbaugh is available, because Jim Harbaugh has just signed an agent representation, who has tons of head coaches in the NFL, and he very, very might very well could win the national championship on Monday, and he's available. Does Matt Eberflus get Rick Renteria?
Okay, so Harbaugh takes a lot to deal with, but I'm going to say, because I'm looking about his tenure with the 49ers, because I also have to think about, coaching in college is different than coaching at the NFL level. Okay. I remember his work with 49ers was not bad work, by the way. It was not bad.
Got him to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, not bad work, right? He has been highly impressive at Michigan. They want to play for him. He brings people in. I'm going to say I would really strongly consider pulling the trigger, which is hard to do only because, and I'd have to really sleep on this. Like him and I would have to talk about this because it'd be like, here we go again, switching the head coach. But the thing about it is when something is available, this isn't in the moment thing. So you don't get to not pull the trigger. So because the odd thing is, I believe that he is somebody who could come in and coach the Bears because this is a very coachable team to me. It's not a bunch of prima donnas. It's not a bunch of, I think I'm bigger than the game players, so to speak. And that's the mentality that would work so good with him. And they're going to look at him like this guy's a winner. There's a pedigree there. And so I'm going to tell you something, Shawn, it would be hard for me not to pull the trigger on that because I think he could be such a good fit and develop especially a lot of the younger players in a way that I think could be totally healthy for them. And here's the thing. He is about accountability.
Yeah, he is.
What he does not do, he don't care who you are. He will sit you down and be like, nope. And that's missing. So I might have to do it. It'd be hard not to. I mean, Eberflus, it would be hard. It'd be hard not to. What about you?
I really like Eberflus because of the way he's held this locker room together. All right. It hasn't fractured. There hasn't been talk about, this guy sucks, that guy sucks. We want to get out of here. You went through a 13, 14 game losing streak. And after a 3 or 4 game losing streak, that usually happens with players. And that really didn't. All right. That really didn't happen. However, the number one thing is the development of Justin Fields. And if you can develop Justin Fields with this guy who's shown he has a track record of developing someone with this type of skill set, just go back and look at Colin Kaepernick, got them to a Super Bowl. And mind you, he had a great defense. Oh, guess what? We got a great defense too. He had great weapons. Oh, guess what? We're getting great weapons too because now we got DJ Moore and whoever we get in the draft. I would have to consider it. And the biggest thing, Chris, how would he coexist with Poles? Now, if he wants too much power and too much control, then obviously Poles gonna be like, you know what?
But see, here's the thing about that. So clearly, they are both alpha males.
Mm-hmm.
That's clear. And generally in nature, that don't work out. There can only be one. Highlanders, there can only be one. One of us is going out. But we're humans, which means we should be able to rationalize a little bit better than that.
Should be the operative phrase there, or operative word there.
And then, you fellas. But I'm also going to look on the flip side of this. That if I'm Poles, he is somebody that I could respect. And actually, you have 2 people who could sit down and really talk about draft picks. And really give you like this feedback about what could be a good fit and what he might like. You know what I'm saying? At the same time as they could maybe bump heads, they also might be like, but we also maybe could work together and make a really great team. Now, mind you, the other piece has to be, though, here's the question that you have to ask. And I'm not saying take him from Michigan, but if he's walking away, we got to talk about him. He's on the table. We can't.
It's all set up. It's all set up.
Yeah, if he wins, he might say, okay, he might say, I'm ready. Out. He might be out. I've done my due here. I'm good. So the other piece that becomes more important, not just about how those 2 feel, what would Harbaugh feel about Fields? That becomes the conversation because I don't know, Jim. I mean, they just, he has a very certain mindset, and he himself is a quarterback. So, I don't know how he's going to look at Fields. And that becomes, if the buy-in is not there with Fields at that point, now ask yourself this question, Bear fans. Do you say, okay, well, come in and then let's evaluate him this year. And if you feel like that's not good enough, then we can move forward. You know what I'm saying? They can make a compromise on this.
Yeah, they could. That's a great point.
There's a couple moving parts here because here's what, Poles might say. Jim, though. You might take Justin Fields to the next level because you can look at him and tell what we need to fix. You're probably what I need for him. And Jim might say, well, let me go back and look at some raw talent. Let me look at some film here and come back and say, because let's be honest, people, if JJ McCarthy, if you look at him saying, you think he can't work with Justin? Come on.
Well, don't forget, he lost to Justin twice at Ohio State. He's done film work on Justin. He knows
right.
what
So
Justin can do at Ohio State.
Right.
You
So
know?
he knows his ability. So
yeah.
there's a couple things here conversation-wise, besides them just being alpha males, because they both have the mentality they want to win. So they might be able to look past their egos. Like, here's the thing. Intelligence can respect intelligence. It's just the dumb people we have a hard time looking at. That's it.
Game recognize the game. Yeah. You
We look
ain't
at each other
lying.
like,
You ain't lying. Like, okay.
Hey, smart bro. This dumb one over here, though. What we gonna do with that one?
This
That one back
this
there.
one over
This
here.
one back here, right? Intelligence recognizes intelligence. Respect is respect.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just about they meet, they talk, and I'll be honest, if Poles doesn't like the vibe, then it don't happen.
Yeah.
But that becomes a real ugly thing because now you've had a conversation, and if I'm Eberflus, now I'm in my feelings about this.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's those are the waters you have to tread because now is Eberflus salty? You know, because you know the players. I think the players, yes, they love Eberflus and they respect him. But you come in with the pedigree that Jim Harbaugh has.
Yeah, it's not. Let's be honest. You can if you would have thought those players didn't like Renteria, he was a nice guy. Ricky's boys, don't quit. I mean, he was a nice guy to them. But don't get me wrong. I don't think the replacement was right at all. But I'm just saying. But you know what it was? Even though people thought that ship had sailed, but the narrative was the respect, right, of what La Russa had done. It was about respect. Even though we thought he might be a little long in the tooth for this, and he was, but it was about respect, not what people wanted. So this is why I feel like these two should be able to get on the same page and put their egos to the side because they like to win. So
I think that could work. And so that's the question. That's the question that I have, you know, because there's going to be suitors for Jim Harbaugh services.
Oh,
and for me, I'm like, go get him because not only will you have him, because there's a guy that I want personally to mentor Justin, and that's Greg Roman. They did it. Harbaugh and Roman were together in San Francisco with Colin Kaepernick. You get these two guys together again with Justin. Now you talked about the fundamentals. Those would be drilled every day. Those would be a lot of the mistakes that Justin has right now and the things that he needs to work on. That would be eliminated. These guys are detail oriented.
Yes,
and that's why I think I was saying, you know what, they should go sign Greg Roman now to the staff as a offensive consultant.
I agree with that. I'm good. That's not a bad move at all. That's actually a great. You know, there's no harm, no foul.
But what if he's saying, hey, you know what? Let me just see, what Jimmy's doing in Michigan. And because I would be like, hey, listen, come on, just look over this and this, because he's the one who worked with Lamar right before Lamar became an MVP.
Yeah.
All right, he went back. So these are the guys that I want to develop this kid. And if they do, man, Lord have mercy. I'm envious of Poles, and at the same time, I would not want to be Poles because there's so many different variables and moving parts. And man, it was, I don't know. So Chris said he was at Baltimore, but he clashed with the other Harbaugh. Okay, it's possible.
Well, let's be honest, but they are two different Harbaughs.
Yeah, but they worked. I think Jim and him worked together. They worked together in San Francisco.
Yeah, so they already have a rapport.
They have a relationship. Yeah.
And they're just, who knows? We don't know the underbelly of why that didn't work in Baltimore. We have no clue. We don't know. Maybe he was expecting, John to be like Jim, and that's just, they're not. Yeah. They're so different. And, I like those curmudgeon type coaches. Like, I was such a Bill Parcells person. I was like, he's so curmudgeon-y, and I just love it. You just look at him and be like, just love it. Harbaugh has that edge about him. He does. But that also comes with respect. And I don't think people don't respect Eberflus. That's not it. I don't think that's it. But there's just something to be said about, and everyone knows how this works. When a person walks in the room and they have a pedigree, they've won, that just stands out. It makes a difference. You get more opportunities, for what it was. Think about it. People, Dusty Baker kept getting the tries, right? Because he could always get there, nothing. And he finally did it with the team. We all hated that, right? Like hated that situation. But now look where he's at, just so it's like when you have a pedigree, when your reputation not just precedes you because you've won things, but you've won big things. And people can look at you and say, this person can work with what we have. And you kind of look at Harbaugh, right? And who does not, you don't think he could work with what the Bears have right now and get a slightly better outcome from an offensive minded person?
And he's got the defense. He just got to bring in someone to run that 4-3 because he ran a 3-4. But you can still get a guy at 4-3. I said go get Chico if he wants to come back. But he might be a little salty from getting fired in Washington because I know he's getting fired. I said go get Leslie Frazier. I'm like bring my Chicago Bears back home to restore us to prominence. That would be dope. Leslie Frazier runs a 4-3. You get him as a defensive coordinator.
We just bringing everybody back, right?
Bring everybody, the big eyes and everything with Singletary. I like that kind of party.
It's crazy. So, but yeah, no, it's a conversation that would have if it really materializes, and it just might. If Michigan pulls this off, seriously,
yeah.
At Harbaugh, at that point, you've achieved. It's like you've gone to the mountaintop, you've done it all. So what makes you stay at that point? And Michigan is throwing everything to keep him.
So what would happen? How crazy would this be? Maybe, and here's why I say that. If he goes and wins at Michigan, that's his alma mater. That's where he went to school. That's where his dad coached. That's where his dad coached. Okay. Right. He wins the national championship there. And what if he comes back to the team that drafted him and wins a Super Bowl with them?
It's like a Cinderella story.
Literally. Yes, literally.
It's like a Cinderella story. I mean, if he had that, I mean, I don't know if he has that type of love for the Bears that way. I don't know.
That's his dream. According to reports, this is his dream job in the NFL.
Okay, then if that's the case, then it doesn't get more ready than this. If that's his dream job, like it's like this is sitting in a good position. We've talked about the talent piece, but we know the talent is only as good as how it is orchestrated and used. And he's shown you that, it's not like Saban, who is legitimately a college coach. That's Saban's, and Saban left and came back after his Miami experience and realized I'm not cut out for this. He's like, I need people who want to listen. So he went back, to college, and Saban, and that's his fit.
Arguably the greatest coach of
college. Yeah, Harbaugh has done both, and I think he has done well in both, showing that he can work at that NFL level, but he can also, work at the college level. So, because, and to me, those are some great skill sets to have, because when you have a mixture of veterans and then younger players, it's like you get that dynamic, so to speak. So
Cornelia said Flus has turned a defense into Super Bowl caliber defense in one season. You just don't throw that away. No, I understand. You just win. If you did move on, you're not we're not just saying, let's go get it. This is a well thought out decision.
This question though. Let me just ask you this question. And I know we always say, though, that defenses win championships, and I would not disagree with you on that. But what happens if your offense can never get off the ground? Then they don't give you a chance to win a championship, now do they? So if you've got the defense in place, there's no reason that you replace things necessarily. You just need to figure out who can orchestrate that right. The Bears' offense is truly their Achilles heel at this point.
My thing would be, are you ready to say, Justin, we got 85 yards to go. We're down 5. We need a tutty to win the Super Bowl. Are we ready for that? Do you think Justin is ready for that? I don't. I think he needs a better coach, because I would not feel confident in that situation. All right. With Harbaugh, the development, first of all, just getting him there. And I would feel more confident saying, okay, Justin, we got to go 85 yards, 75 yards, whatever, to win the game. Him being coached by Harbaugh and possibly Greg Roman, because I don't know what this is going to, but definitely Harbaugh, I feel he'd be a lot more prepared. And I'd be like, okay, we're going to go down and score.
And when you look at the whole Michigan situation, in some strange way, if this plays out like this, they pretty much have their head coach right behind him.
Yep. Yes, they do.
They don't even have to do a coaching search. I mean, pretty much Harbaugh has worked with him in his absence, which was funny. He needs to stop crying though. I was like, what you crying?
Yeah, he does that.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah,
come on now. If he got a wife, I hope she went home like, don't you ever do that again.
Embarrass us. Strong.
Crying in front of people like that. What's wrong with you?
National TV.
Right.
And it wasn't just a cry. It was an ugly cry.
Oh, it was ugly. I was like, bro.
Cursing on the air. I was like, come on, man.
Like, you okay?
He dropping F-bombs on the ESPN.
Right. I was like, do you need to schedule an appointment with me? Because I think you might need to talk through some things here. Okay. But it's funny how it looks like everything is falling in place, so to speak. All they need is just the win. That's it. And I say at that point, if Harbaugh has allegedly said he really wants the Bears job, I'm sorry, folks. And I do like Eberflus.
I do too.
I do. But again, it can't be personal. It has to be business. And this is where people who are cut out for those kind of jobs understand you have to make hard decisions. Now, I'll say this. If let's just say they fire Eberflus and they bring in Harbaugh and the Bears do better next year, I will flat out say this, though. They were trending to being better. It's kind of like that whole, Steve
Mark
Kerr,
Jackson.
Mark Jackson thing.
Steve Kerr, yeah.
They were trending to be better. So it's not like I'd be like, Eberflus was part of that equation. He was.
Big time. I think he should get a ring if they do.
That'd be nice. I mean, something. Yeah. I mean, so I would never discount the work that he has done. But sometimes, some people just aren't finishers, and we have to be okay with that.
Right. No. Right. I agree. I mean, Rick Renteria and Joe Madden. All right. That alone is an example. I know it's the scrubs and the people up there, but
look, but look,
mission accomplished.
That's what I'm saying. Like those hard choices, but you don't make that light of hurt. You're looking at the body of work of that person, what they have accomplished before you just make a. They wouldn't just be picking up Harbaugh because it's Harbaugh. That's not why. They're looking at his overall body of work. And when you look at this current team, he just looks like a really good fit.
Yeah. Coach T, I agree with you. I understand. But man, it's when you bring in someone with a pedigree like this. Again, if he's coming off a national title, he's already had a Super Bowl appearance. And if it wasn't for a phenomenal throw, all right, a drive by the Baltimore offense, man. And listen, Cleveland. It should be Cleveland Hater Grimes, 5 to 10 years away for the Super Bowl, if not longer.
Look, I'm not even talking Super Bowl. What did I say? I'm like, you got to have small goals. Legitimately, the goal for next year has to be better than a 500 team. You can put on the board that you want to win the division because this is a weak division for the Bears. You know what I'm saying? So you can put that on the board. Doesn't mean it's going to happen because that depends on what you do with the draft and free agency. If you can kind of shore up that O-line, some other things you need to do. They could very well win the division because Detroit has shown that they aren't as awesome as we think they are. So we'll see how that goes. But to be better than 500 is a start. And that at this point, being better than 500 next year might put you in the playoffs at the rate it's going.
Hell, if they win Sunday, they're 7. They finish 8 and 9.
Almost made the cut. They would have been. Think about this. If you don't add the game to this year, they're 8. What they'd be? What 8? Potentially 8 and 8. Yeah.
And no, Chris. I agree with you, Chris. There's a lot to be said for continuity, but there's also to be said for upgrades as well. All right, let's not forget that an upgrade. Matt Eberflus is still trying to forge his way as an NFL head coach, and he's doing a good job of it, despite what he was given. Harbaugh he's navigated those waters. Harbaugh has taken a team to the Super Bowl. Okay, he's taken his team to NFC championships. Yeah, it's an upgrade, and I love Eberflus. I like
Eberflus.
The way that his players have stuck by him.
This isn't a just throw him out to throw him out. This is not, like I said, a light decision to make. But I actually forgot even during the time that Harbaugh was with the 49ers, I actually forgot that that's when Kaepernick was there. So now you're talking about a guy who gets that flow of that type of quarterback as well.
Yep.
I actually forgot that. I was like, oh gosh, yeah, that's right. He was there with Kaepernick and some other pieces there. So again, now you have a coach that gets the quarterback and how he moves and can help him fix his fundamentals because he was a quarterback. What better to help somebody get past their deficiency is the guy who understands where the issues are. Yes, I kind of feel like, are we at that point though, that the Bears need a more offensive minded head coach? See, this is always the argument. Like, what do you want, an offensive minded coach? Do you want a minded coach? Okay. So yes, he worked to his strength, which is improving the defense. Poles kind of made him work at that though. Like, I'm about to pull all these pieces out. Done. And he worked with what he had, and it's good. I'm not anti this. Remember though, but Poles had to be the filler. He went and got the other pieces that got. So here's my question. And Shawn and here's an honest question. Eberflus is working with what he was given by Poles after Poles went and pulled pieces out and then went into free agency. So my question is this. Is that a Eberflus's defense or is that a Poles defense? Whose defense is it?
Oh, Eberflus.
No, I'm asking though. Did you get the question I'm asking you? So Poles pretty much cleaned house defensively, got rid of a lot of pieces. Bear fans cringed. But he was also the person who went into free agency and plugged back in the pieces that he removed. And then Eberflus had to coach it. So is it 100% Eberflus's defense, or is this a hybrid? Because Poles had to go get the talent for Eberflus to coach.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hybrid. It's never going to be 100% this way or the other way. But
I'm always asking that question though, because people are like, but if you pull away Eberflus, it's his defense. Well, it's only 50% of his defense, because Poles did give him the ingredients to work with. So he had to look and see who is going to be not just serviceable, but work within this new system they were putting together. He had to assess that piece. So this is why if you happen to let Eberflus go, if your only argument is going to be if you pull him, the defense falls apart. Do they though? I don't know.
I don't know either. I will say this though. I don't know. I wouldn't put this defense as dominant as they are right now if it wasn't for him.
Absolutely.
Right?
No. I'm not
there's a lot that's changed since he took over.
Oh, yes.
After Williams left, he became a lot more aggressive. He started calling stunts and blitzes. He wasn't just trying to get home with 4. He started making, and then the addition of Sweat, that made everything better. In addition, so you get Sweat, the Sweat effect, they call it. And then he started bringing people and doing a little more stunts and twists. I think that really hit his play calling. That's where he made his bread and butter as a DC. Yes. I think it's, and the players love him for, I wonder how they look at him, the defensive players, not the offensive, the defensive players.
Right.
Are you just my head coach? Or are you my guy, my DC? Because there's a special relationship when you're a coordinator, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator with your players, because this is my group. This is all the, the different groups, the linebackers, D lines, secondary. These are my guys. As a head coach, it's the whole team are all my guys. But as a coordinator, like, these are my guys.
It would probably be the same energy if it was an offensive minded coach. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are my people. That's my people. So, I mean, it's definitely, like I said, this is not a decision to be treaded lightly by any stretch. And I know the conversation was about risk. Well, I'm going to tell you something. Anything that's worth having or building is always going to come with a certain amount of risk.
Yeah.
Nothing worth really having it didn't come risk-free. And that's a hard decision. And this is why some people are top tier people, because they don't just take random risks. They really sit down and they think this is something that has to be thought about, is the thing. It isn't just like they can rush into this and just make it happen. It's not that kind of party. But it still has to be considered. If the possibility is going to be available, then it has to be considered. And that's just the bottom line.
Right. Yeah, Coach T, no, I'm not saying they're going to trust new leadership, but you're going to give him a lot longer leash than someone who comes in without a pedigree. You're going to give him a lot more leeway. One, especially if he pulls this off on Monday. So he just won a national title. When he went to college, he took a team to the Super Bowl. This guy has done so. He's going to have respect. He's going to have respect and trust. Like I said, that leash is going to be a lot longer. Trust is going to come a lot quicker with somebody who's done this already and taken a team to the Super Bowl. And Maya, you mentioned game recognizes game. Players are going to know.
Yeah.
Players are going to know, like, look, this dude's a real deal.
You fellas know people recognize game when they see it. Stop playing.
Yeah.
Stop. You know it. So, I mean, like I said, this is not an easy decision. And it should not, like, I don't think anybody sits here. Like, this honestly probably might be one of the more complicated decisions that Poles will have to make if it becomes available. In a way, I almost hope it don't. So then he don't got to think about it. Because I'll be honest, this is the kind of decision you lose sleep on.
Yeah.
But you also have to ask yourself, and this is how I think I might decide this. If at the time I was selecting a new head coach after that debacle, who I'm not an idiot, Nagy. Okay. You know how I felt. I didn't like him from day one. But anyways, that was a bad call.
Look what he's doing to Patrick Mahomes now.
Right. See? But what I'd have to ask myself before I prayed, chanted, did the whole 9 yards, okay, is if these two people were available to me right now when I was picking the head coach, Harbaugh was available, Eberflus was available, I can interview and make my choice. Who would I choose in that moment? And if it's Eberflus still, then that means I'm solid with my choice. But if I'm sitting here going, no, I actually would have picked Harbaugh if he was available, then you can't just discount, because then you have to do the analysis part and say, now, why would I choose him? This. What's the pros of me bringing him in? What's the cons? This. It's a whole process. This is an acquisition. And when you make acquisitions like this, it has to be, and it's an acquisition that becomes a merger, because you have to acquire this person and then merge him with the team. And the team has to accept him. So you also then have to do the psychological. You can call me, Pulse, if you need some help with this. I can help you out with this. The things you really need to consider, that's the mental part of this and the emotional piece of the decision. Because there is a mental and emotional piece to this decision. It isn't just all cognitive and it's just this numbers. No, you really have to think about, this is an ecosystem. It's a team. So before you make sweeping changes, you have to look at how they're going to be affected on many levels. So this will be one of the most hardest decisions. I almost hope it don't happen, if you want to know the truth.
Right.
And I would just be like, hey, Harbaugh, could you just leave and go to Iowa? There you go. And I'd be happy. You know how I feel about that. But anyways, I'm glad. Yeah. I'm surprised now. One person has roasted me today. I was waiting. I was like,
I think they're surprised that they're happy to see you and they forgot about it. They're like,
he made a comment, and I was just like, oh, here you go. Thank you guys for being so kind and not taking a punch at me. But no, seriously, it's a real decision.
Did you see Caitlin though yesterday?
Yeah, look, it's the best thing happening in Iowa right now. Baller, good stuff.
Man,
it's good stuff. But
yeah, Caitlin, she was nasty. Oh, do we have?
Caitlin I can't wait for her when she get to the WNBA. It's gonna be on.
There's gonna be a lot of people trying to go at her, and you know what? She can come right back at her. She can go right back at them.
Like, her work ethic is nuts. Like, that girl is constantly practicing. Like, her buy-in to this is not like people think. She knows that people don't want to give her credit and don't want to believe in her. They want to say, oh, you're not that good. Her work ethic is like, she's one of those people, like, early practice, doing this, doing that, working on just constant, like, good work ethic. And you know what? And she's nice. That's the other thing too. Super nice. But yeah. If Harbaugh becomes available, dude in Chicago gonna be out of a job. I don't. You know what? This is interesting. It's like people could not be that passionate about the quarterback, but when it comes to the coach, he really hasn't. This is a thing that makes the quarterback better. So I kind of feel like an offensive-minded head coach might be what's really needed right now.
And that's what a lot of people had wanted from jump. They didn't want a defensive head coach. They wanted an offensive-minded head coach, because they figure if you take the next, hot coordinator, well, he's going to jump any success with Justin Fields. Boom, he's gone.
Right
now with the offensive head coach, he's here for a minute. He's got Justin Fields. Which is why I wanted Greg Roman, because he's not going anywhere. He's not going to be a head coach. He's not.
No.
Right? He realized he's like. Who was Vic Fangio had to go try to become a head coach. Is like, let me go back to my role. I'm more comfortable as a DC.
Let me get back in my lane.
Yeah.
Everybody realizes they're not cut out to be a head coach. I hate to say this. And why is it that defensive coordinators don't often make good head coaches? But man, when they were stellar in that role, you know what it is? They're often the reasons that their offenses are awesome. And I get it. And then they get into that role and they're like, no, I just want to kind of go back over here because this is my makeup. I mean, can somebody? I'm shuffling through my head right now. Can somebody think of any head coach that was a defensive guy that was really successful, or just one, whatever? I'm struggling to find.
I mean, Belichick, but he went to Cleveland first and he was horrible in Cleveland.
Yeah,
Belichick.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So
but
that would be
all.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot of other ones. I mean, think of all the other ones. I mean,
I probably just had to mull through it for a while. But it's just
because John Harbaugh was a special teams coach. He wasn't a defensive coordinator. John was a special teams coach, which is smart because you're dealing with everybody, offense and defense, which understandably would make you a head coach. So good.
I totally would. I would agree with that. Technical skills do not. But when you look at the Harbaughs too, you're talking about there's that their coaching tree is like family based. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like how they probably look at the game, how they learn the game, fundamentals, this is going to be a little different than people that maybe were just players. You know, if your dad coach, it's just a little different sometimes.
Yeah.
No. So again, it's not going, I don't even know if I want it to be a decision that has to be made. I'm going to be honest, but If you sit down and do the soul searching, you're gonna probably realize it's the right thing to do. And I'm like, Eberflus, you can come sit on the couch too. I'll talk to you as well.
Well, Maya,
yeah,
2 hours has come and gone. Unbelievable. I want to thank our guest, my guy Evan Winter from A to Z Sports, for coming out talking Bears with us. Great stuff, guys. We're gonna replay this. Will be replayed at 6:00, and today they're gonna. No, that was yesterday. Yeah, that was yesterday. Yeah, so this will be replayed at 6:00 tonight, so you can catch us in case you missed it. So for everybody here at Sports Zone Chicago, all right, we have a Happy New Year first and foremost, and we will see you on Friday, same bad time, same bad channel, 9 a.m. to 11. Here we go. So for me, our Elliot Baez, our executive producer, Clarence Counsel, our social media guy, and my lovely co-host here with me today, Maya.
Au revoir, mon amis. Tout à l'heure.
We out.